we just had a family dinner here not too long ago, and the kids, both Andrea and Miles, are both talking about who gets the house, and I'm going, "We're not dead yet. We're still here. What's wrong
We're
with you
still
guys?"
here. We're still here.
Right? This kind of takes us into the next comment that I wanted to talk about was the estate planning.
Yeah.
When you're building these assets and you have this real estate portfolio, and that includes a rental property, like Nolan, you and I talked about it earlier. Like, what's the best way for you to make sure that you're safe from any kind of fraud issues, and also, like, as we get older and we want our kids to get our properties, not all of them, but we want our kids to get our properties. What's the best avenue from that perspective?
Well, Greg, I'm not surprised you're asking me this question. You are a lot older than I am, so it's probably top of mind for you. Let's be honest. You're way ahead of me. I got lots of time to think about this. You, man.
So when I was 8 months old, I was twice your age, right?
When I was probate fees. So this kind of gets into a conversation about probate fees and even just selling your house. There's an elderly person. So when someone dies and they have a will and they have a house, and the will says, I want all my properties, I want all my estate to go to I have 3 kids. If it goes to my wife, and if she predeceases me, it goes to my 3 kids. Now that's great. I've got a will, but in order for that house in Burnaby, we live in Burnaby, to go to my kids, we have to get a probate order from the courts. And a probate order costs legal fees, it's time, and there's probate fees that are paid. And the fees are based on the value of the estate. So if my house in Burnaby is worth $2 million, the probate fees just on the house alone are $28,000. So my kids need to spend $28,000 plus 8 months of their life, plus some legal fees. They might get a deal on that. We'll see how the firm treats them. Just to get the house into their name, and then they go and sell it. Now that's fine, and that may work for some clients, but for other clients, especially if I'm much older, well, my parents are 89 and 83 at the time we're shooting this video, and they're getting up there. So what we did is we put my brother and I on title with my parents to my parents' home, so that when my parents pass, assuming they predeceased my brother and I, we simply take the death certificates, file them in an afternoon. It's a couple $100. The house is in the name of my brother and I. Now we can sell the property tomorrow. We can move into it. We can do whatever we want. There's no probate fees. So we're saving a fortune, and we're saving a lot of time and a lot of stress eliminating the probate. So this isn't right for everybody. There are some pitfalls to this. But your clients should be having a conversation with their estate attorney, with their lawyer. I'm not sure if notaries can do this or not. I'm not putting down notaries, just don't know, about whether it works in their situation. My wife and I haven't done it now with our 3 kids. I'm much younger than Greg. My wife is younger than me. We got lots of time. We're not worried about it.
I get the house.
My parents, who are 89, 83, and some health issues, it's something that we decided to do. So if you have elderly clients and they have a few assets, and no one's going through a divorce, no one's going bankrupt, no one's a drug addict, alcoholic, whatever it may be, it's a conversation worth having. So this is another one of my rampages right now of just eliminating probate fees. I'm at the age where a lot of my aunts, uncles, friends, parents are in their late 80s, mid 80s, health's failing, whatever. Do you want to do this? Does it work for them in their situation? And we actually have an Excel spreadsheet. You send me all your assets in your estate. We can calculate property transfer tax, legal fees, all the other stuff. The minimum savings that this has achieved for our clients who've gone ahead with it is $14,000. We have one right now where it's a $72,000 savings to put the kids in the title now. Doesn't mean they want to do it, but it's something worth talking. And the other thing about this, let's say, and I think, Greg, we were talking earlier about problems that come up at closing. And I guess this is a good segue into that topic. You have an elderly parent. They're going into a home. You want to sell the house. You've got the power of attorney. Great planning. You've got the power of attorney. But if your parent, or if your parent would pass away before the sale completes, that power of attorney is useless. The
Mhm.
power of attorney dies when the person given the power of attorney dies as well. So if let's just make up a scenario. I have one parent left. It's my mom. I'm going to say that because she's younger. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching this. She's getting older. We want to sell the house. If she passes before that thing sells, my brother and I got to do probate of that house. So again, we put my brother and I on title in that situation. And if she were to pass before closing, no problem. Get the death certificate, file it, goes in my brother's name, my name, and we sell it the next day.
Right.
Now, there's some issues with income tax and trust declarations, and again, creditor protection, spousal protection, all that kind of stuff. But it's a conversation that the kids should be having, and the kids should be the ones paying for it because they're the ones that are doing all the savings when the parents are gone. So, Miles, if you want to do this, you got to pay for it.
I was just going to say, actually, earlier, I was going to say, are you telling me I should be on my dad's title? But I mean, if I got to pay for it, it makes total sense to do it, honestly. Like,
this is, we just had a family dinner here not too long ago, and the kids, both Andrea and Miles, are both talking about who gets the house, and I'm going, we're not dead yet. We're still here. What's wrong with you guys?
We're still here.
Right.
I heard Andrea was already on the title.
I thought I was your favorite, Dad.
I'm not even going to say anything.
Oh, come on now.
You are my favorite today.
But man,
the two questions that come up, Tone, is, when you're dealing with this kind of a situation, there's also an accounting capital gains issue that could arise, right? So I guess the key here is to make sure you look into the whole situation, but this is a real easy, cost-effective way of doing it. And the one example that we talked about before we came online was we got about 6,500 customers over the past 32 years, but the one, and we just talked about it, have we ever had any issues at closing? And we have not had any issues traditionally at closing. But the tail end of last year, we had a gentleman and his wife were buying a house, $1.2 million in Nanaimo, which is a nice home. And the vendor passed away the day before closing, and she hadn't signed her documents yet. So probate, 6 months later, interest rates have all gone up. So we can only hold interest rates for a certain period of time. And 6 months, you have to requalify. Things can change. It was a real show. Like, it was really, really unique. So, and unfortunately, the kids hadn't done the pre-work and done all that stuff. So luckily enough, they still closed on the property, closed about a month ago. And, but holy smokes, like, we've just never had that happen, but it can happen.
Yeah. Well, and think how easy a fix it was to get to in advance. I'm not sure if that person was elderly, ill, sometimes stuff happens and someone passes unexpectedly. Okay. Life gets in the way, or death gets in the way in that example.
Yeah.
But if the person was elderly, did have health issues, all they had to do is put one child on title, and that thing could have closed, and the buyer would have kept the low interest rates and no 6 months of probate and all that kind of stuff. That's a great example of what I was talking about. Yeah.